Hey everybody, The Real Behemoth here, back in another video for Heroes of History. Today we're going to be jumping into our very first episode of a new series. This is going to be a Relic tier list series. I'm going to be making a Relic tier list for each of the relics currently in the game and upcoming relics as well, so we can kind of get a better understanding as to where we should place our relics. We're going to be starting off with the 5-star relics that are currently in the game, and we're going to be moving on from there. So the very first relic we're going to be doing this tier list on is going to be the Torch of Prometheus. The Torch of Prometheus is a 5-star relic only area attackers are able to equip. And so as you can see here, we've got our full list of area attackers that are in the game, aside from 2 stars here. So in C tier, starting off, we've got Charlemagne, Marco Polo, Ada Lovelace, Leonidas, and Cyrus. Now, all of these are in C tier for a reason. Charlemagne is more of a tank, and so he doesn't have that damage output you really want out of your Torch Prometheus, and he doesn't have burnt. Marco Polo, he's similar to Edison, but his attack speed is very, very low, and his ability is not the best. Is not the best. He's significantly worse than Edison, even at a lower version of him. Ada Lovelace, she can do okay damage, at least toward the start, but she definitely falls off. Same thing with Leonidas. Cyrus, kind of more tanky, less damage-oriented type hero. In B, we've got Vlad, Sun Tzu, Einstein, Joan of Arc, Hercules, Tomo, Van Helsing, Van Gogh, Edison, and Artemisia. So starting off with our 5 stars here, I think that the 5 stars are inherently better to throw these 5-star relics on for the stat boosts themselves. However, all of these are in here because of a few factors. Number 1, they're either significantly more tanky and so not damage oriented. 2, they don't have a burn type skill. Or 3, their damage output just isn't there. But due to them being 5 stars, they have to be in B versus C simply because of their big stat differences compared to 4 stars and 3 stars. So I would say out of these 5 stars, I would potentially throw the torch on would be Einstein and Joan for their significantly larger AoE type damage abilities. But even then, you're not going to find a ton of excelling throwing the torch on either of them. So I would use that as kind of a worst case scenario or as kind of a backup if you don't have some of the others that it does better on. Tomo is going to be a decent one. It can be on, but she doesn't have burn, and so it's really not going to impact her as much as it would some others. Van Helsing, I think Van Helsing could even be in C tier. He's kind of a mix for me. He has good damage output, but it's just not. I mean, he's a bleed type hero, right? He's supposed to be paired up with Vlad on bleed, not burn. Van Gogh, like Einstein, they have the kind of swirl going for them, and so with the torch, that would positively impact them having the torch. However, I just after his big nerf, it's just I don't know that I would throw the torch on him. Edison, in my personal opinion, has the potential to be an A for this, and it's just because of his attack speed. So other relics are definitely better for Edison. However, if you want to throw a torch on him and see kind of a little bit of a differences in damage, he will be doing a little bit more damage with the torch than some of these other heroes would be. And Bonnie, she's an interesting one. I wouldn't put the torch on her. Same thing with Artemisia. They have their big, ability hit, and that's kind of it. You use her more for movement speed versus damage. In A tier, we've got Kin and we have Pythagoras. So Kin, with his flying sword going around and around rotating, he can do a little bit better with the torch. However, I think that there are definitely better relics for him. Pythagoras is going to be your really starter type hero for the torch. So if you don't have the other heroes in the game, you're just starting and you happen to have a torch, which currently is not possible, but if that's the case, Pythagoras is still a good option because he does have an inherent burn on his ability. However, his burn damage just got reduced by, I want to say, 5/6. So he does a 6 of the burn damage that he would prior to his nerf. So his output is not going to be entirely changed or helpful, at least not as much as it would have been prior to the nerf. Now in S tier, we have Marie, we have Means, we have Blackbeard, Mulan, and Da Vinci. So you notice the key difference for these heroes in S tier. The heroes in S tier all have some type of burn in their abilities. That is what you want with your torch. Your torch is going to boost burn damage, and so they automatically have a boost versus some of these other heroes where you need them to apply the burn before they get that boost. And it's really going to be on the heroes or enemies that they apply the burn to. So somebody like Marie and Means, they are going to be your top two for the Torch of Prometheus. Now, a lot of people ask me, who would you prefer it on? Would you prefer it on Marie or would you prefer it on Means? I think Means can use a lot of other relics. Marie, less so. However, both of them are pretty equal in my personal opinion when it comes to the Torch of Prometheus. Means has a very large range, but Marie also spreads the damage out. So Marie, in some cases, can hit a single cluster, but in other cases, she can hit 3-4 clusters, right? So, but Means, he can hit a very, very wide range of units, almost encompassing the whole battlefield. So it's kind of a mix, it's a toss-up. Marie would do more damage off the rip, but she, I think Means with his movement speed reduction, and the torch, the burn, I think his burn damage is going to do a little bit more. So it's really a heavy toss-up. They are very, very equal when it comes to having use for the Torch of Prometheus. So for anybody that does not have Marie, you have an easy choice, throw it on Means. For people that have multiple torches, I would recommend throwing it on all these S tiers and Pythagoras. I think that all these S tiers have massive value with the torch. Blackbeard paired with Means specifically, or paired with Mulan, even Marie, his douse plus their burn abilities is going to do a lot of damage for you. So it's not necessarily for his burn directly, but if the battle is going on long enough and his burn does take effect, then you're going to see that big damage output from him, especially when they're already doused. Mulan, she's, a little bit more tanky and she's more frontline, but her burn is still really good. I think a lot of people underestimate her burn abilities. I think that her burn abilities are better than Blackbeard's and Da Vinci's personally, because Blackbeard's takes so long and Da Vinci's just doesn't do as much damage as you really want him to. But Da Vinci is the other case scenario too, where if you don't have Mulan, you don't have Blackbeard, you don't have Marie, you don't have Means, or you have 2 torches, but you don't have the other 5 stars and all you have is Means and Da Vinci, you're going to want to throw the torch on both of them. So don't underestimate the torch. Even having some sort of torch team for a treasure hunt is very viable, especially paired with Means, with his movement speed reduction. Movement speed reduction paired with burn is key. It's huge. But, regarding the Torch of Prometheus and as far as this relic goes, you really want to throw the torch on somebody that has a burn type ability already so that they automatically see some sort of gain or boost from the torch versus heroes that don't already have the burn and have to apply the burn before you see that boost in the bonus. So hope you guys enjoyed this quick overview and quick relic tier list. There is more to come. I will catch you in the next one. Please leave a like and subscribe.